Would you like to feel more productive? And would you like to get more goals done on a weekly basis? Well, stay tuned because I have 3 simple tips for you to get organized so that you're more productive during each work week and checking those to-do lists off. Hi, I'm Sarah Lewis and I am a business coach for introverted entrepreneurs. I help introverted entrepreneurs get more productive, more clarity in their work weeks, and become more successful entrepreneurs. So today we're talking about productivity, and I have 3 simple ways to get organized so that you feel like you're getting your goals done consistently on a weekly basis. So my first tip for you is to write your to-do list weekly. And that may mean writing it down on a Sunday evening or a Monday morning, or sometimes I even like to write my upcoming week on Friday of the previous week because I've finished out the week and I know what needs to be done for the coming week. So it doesn't really matter what day you do it, pick which day works for you, but write down all the items that you need to get done in your planner, in a journal. I use a fun Post-it piece of paper, but write down those weekly to-do items on a weekly basis. Now you may already be doing that, which is great, but you may also not be getting each item on your to-do list checked off on a weekly basis. And you may have some list jumpers that keep skipping weeks and get put on your to-do list for each week. And this is tip number 2, is to stop overestimating exactly how much work you can get done in 1 week. I think just as humans, and we want to be productive and getting things done, but we tend to really overestimate exactly how much time we have available to us to get work done. So when you're making your weekly to-do list, you need to be looking at your schedule for the week. If you have a lot of calls or a lot of appointments or a lot of things that are taking up space on your calendar, and you're not going to have a whole lot of time to get a whole lot of administrative behind the scenes items done, then your weekly to-do list needs to be much smaller. Your goals for the week won't get done because there simply isn't enough hours in the day. You'll feel more productive when you can get all the items crossed off of your to-do list rather than having them keep skipping and jumping from each week's list to each week's list. So again, really look at the amount of time you have available. If you have to run your kids to 5 practices throughout the afternoons all week long, you won't have that time available to get work done. So lower your expectations for how much work you can get done and make your list accordingly, and just push back the absolutely non-essential, like if there's a deadline that you can push that back just 1 week until you have more time available in your week to do the behind the scenes administrative work. And tip number 3 is to break your big projects down into small bite-size to-dos. I think we have a tendency when we have like a larger project with a lot of moving pieces to just write the project down on our weekly to-do list. Like I've created a 12-week program, for example, and you can imagine in creating a 12-week digital course that there's a lot of pieces that have to be built in that. It's like little icons and the actual content, and then getting that content published online and then marketing the thing. So if I just put 12-week course on my to-do list, that would be extremely overwhelming. So when you're making your to-do list, make sure it's in little bite-sized chunks. Like you have to think backwards. Like I have this big project. How can I break that down into the very first step? What's the number one thing that has to happen? And maybe that's just a brainstorming or the content of that big project. Like, okay, so this is what has to happen first. So when you're making your to-do list, make sure that it's written down into very small, actionable things that you can get done in, let's say, an hour or 2. Because again, going back to the previous tip, you just may not have that much time to get to these things as you think you do. Unless you're pulling an all-nighter, right? But then what happens? You lose sleep and then you're unproductive, right? So we need to plan our weeks better, and we need to start with a weekly to-do list that is broken down into small bite-sized chunks, and that we're planning that we have enough time to actually do our to-do list. Okay, so I hope those 3 tips were helpful for you for planning out your week. So leave me a comment and let me know which one of those areas that you are going to implement this week. And I will see you soon.